Hi readers, welcome back. Today we're going to add on to the work we did yesterday, and we are going to think about whether a character in a fiction text seems real. Characters can be very realistic or they can be super silly, like talking dogs and elephants and pigs. So let's do some work together today to see if we can notice when a character seems real in a text. Here's our target. Get your arrow out, pull it way back, and follow along with me so that we can read it together. 1, 2, 3. I can express my opinion with clear reasons about whether a character in a fiction text seems real. Psh, nicely done. You will notice 3 interactive read-alouds on your screen. These are 3 read-alouds that we have read together this year, and we are going to use them in our lesson today. I'll jog your memory on what happened in each fiction text so that we can focus on whether or not the character or characters seem real. Let's start with a favorite of mine. Bill and Pete go down the Nile. Do you remember reading Bill and Pete Go Down the Nile? Yeah, I love this one. I think it's so funny, and I think Bill and Pete are such good buddies. As I reread the first few pages to you, I want you to think about our character, William Everett, the crocodile. Does he seem like a real crocodile? What makes him seem real or not? The next morning, after kissing Mama goodbye, Bill and Pete started out for school. It was fun to see all the other little crocodiles again. On Tuesday, Miss Ibis told the class about the Sphinx. Today we learned about the stinks, Mama, said Bill. You mean Sphinx, Bill, said Pete. Oh, boy, is it weird looking. Does William Everett seem like a real crocodile? What makes him seem real? Or not so real? Yeah, I think he seems pretty fiction and made up to me. I've never seen a crocodile talk. I mean, I don't live in Florida or a place where crocodiles live, but I've never heard of a talking crocodile. Have you? So he is a character who is very much made up and fiction in a fiction text. That makes it very clear to us that a talking crocodile is in a fiction text. Let's check out another one that we've recently read together too. 2 Mrs. Gibsons. Now this text has 2 main characters that we're going to take a peek at. Do you remember the 2 Mrs. Gibsons? Did they seem real to you? Let's reread a little bit and see if you think they seem like they could be real characters or not, and why. This Mrs. Gibson gave hugs that were like being wrapped up in a great big fat bearskin rug. Whoa, that's quite the description for a hug. Come here and give me some sugar, she would say. That seems like a really sweet Mrs. Gibson grandma who I would love to hug. She sure seems real to me because she looks real. She says things that a grandma would say, and she seems really loving like a grandma. This Mrs. Gibson seems very real to me. This Mrs. Gibson gave hugs that were like being wrapped up in a light, down-filled comforter. At bedtime, she'd stroke my hair and hum Sakura until I fell asleep. I have a grandma that used to tickle my back before bedtime, and she called it coscachitas. So this is a connection I have with this Mrs. Gibson. It reminds me of a very comforting feeling when my grandma tickled my back gently before bedtime. So this Mrs. Gibson also seems very realistic to me. What do you think? Do the two Mrs. Gibsons seem realistic? Why or why not, reader? I want you to pause and think about that. All right, let's look at one more character before we give it a go in our own reading time today. This book is one of my favorites. Also, this is called Super Completely and Totally the Messiest by Judith Vorst. I'm going to reread 10 whole pages of this book to you because it's that good and I think you're going to enjoy it. I want you to think while I read, does Sophie seem like a realistic, real kid? Why or why not? Be ready to explain your thinking, reader. My room is very neat. Like me, Olivia. Remember, we're focusing on Sophie, not Olivia. Jake, my big brother, is sort of, but not a huge slob. And then there's my little sister, whose room is seriously revolting. Which is one of maybe a million reasons why my sister Sophie is super, completely, and totally the messiest. Hello? Is anyone home? I ask when I open the door to her room. Because even when she's there, it's hard to find her. I mean, there's so much stuff on her bed that sometimes I just see the top of her head. Oh my gosh, can you see it? Whoa, that's messy. I thought my kids had messy rooms. And there's so much stuff on the floor and spilling out of her dresser drawers that sometimes all I can find is a nose or toes. Holy cow, look how messy that room is. Remember, you are thinking, does Sophie seem like a real kid? What's your, pull out that magnifying glass from your back pocket, detective, evidence from the text to support your thinking? And there's so much stuff in her closet that once, when she opened up her closet, don't do it, I hollered, stop, watch out, oh no! She super completely and totally disappeared. I mean, Sophie isn't just messy, she is the messiest. Look at her cute smile. So what do you think, readers? Does Sophie seem like a real kid to you? Well, I think Sophie seems both real and not real. I think this because kids can be messy. One of my kids is really messy and has a really hard time staying picked up. And I've been with some of you in person. Some of you are great at keeping your things and materials organized. And some of you have a hard time with it, just like Sophie. But I've never seen a kid be quite that messy. So that part seems not real to me. That part seems a little bit fiction. So while you read today during your Read to Self time, you are going to give this a try. And it might sound something like this. Today when I read, whatever book you read, Let's Go for a Drive by Mo Willems, I noticed the character Piggy was talking the whole book, riding in umbrellas, singing and dancing. They seem not real to me because elephants can't talk and tell jokes the way that this elephant can. So readers, after you read a fiction text today, I want you to do the very same thing right here in your Seesaw activity. Hit the green Add Response button and use these same sentence starters to tell your teacher all about what you read and which character you think is real or not real. Remember to include your evidence and why you think what you think. Great work today, reader. Your teacher cannot wait to hear from you. Have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow.